This movie unfolds a true story from 1986 in India, starting with a teenager named Guddu and his little brother Suru. They sneak onto a train to steal coal but catch the attention of a vigilant security guard. The boys manage to exchange the coal for 2 bags of milk at the market, concealing their adventurous feat from their struggling, hard-working mother. As their circumstances remain impoverished, Guddu plans to leave for a week to earn money, initially refusing to take Suru, who fervently wishes to accompany him. Eventually, Guddu relents, and they embark on a train journey together. However, regret surfaces as Guddu realizes Suru's potential uselessness for the task at hand. When they reach their destination, Guddu leaves Suru on a bench to inquire about a job. Time passes, and Suru, left unattended, falls asleep on the train. He awakens to find the train in motion, panic-stricken and desperately trying to escape, calling out for his brother to no avail. Night turns to day as the train travels, far surpassing their intended destination of Kandava County and arriving in Calcutta, over 1,000 miles away. Suru, lost and alone, pleads for help, but the indifferent crowds and language barrier leave him stranded and misunderstood. In a distressing turn of events, Suru finds himself in an underpass among homeless teenagers and children, forced into a life on the streets. His vulnerability draws unwanted attention, leading to a frightening encounter with suspicious men. His desperate flight catches the eye of a nearby policeman, who, despite witnessing the situation, chooses not to intervene. Suru, exhausted from fleeing, stumbled upon a group of sleeping people in the open air, realizing it was an impromptu temple. His days became a search among the multitude of impoverished people living nearby, washing themselves in the river, slept on cardboard and scavenged for food, unnoticed until a compassionate woman named Noor, fluent in Hindi, discovered him. Lost and yearning to return home, Suru was taken in by Noor, who fed and cleaned him, understanding his need to work. Noor mentioned a man named Rama, offering hope of reuniting with his mother. However, Rama's whispered conversation with Noor hinted at ulterior motives. Despite Noor's attempts to lift his spirits, Suru, haunted by memories of supporting his family, fled. For 2 months, he survived on the streets, eventually settling near a landfill. There, Suru found a discarded metal spoon and observed a man in a cafe using a similar one. Mirroring the man's actions led to an unexpected encounter where the concerned man, realizing Suru's plight, took him to the authorities. However, attempts to trace Suru's origins failed as his hometown, photographed and taken to an orphanage alongside other street children, Suru encountered harsh living conditions. Amidst breakfast, he met a meter, who revealed the challenges of finding families from time to time amidst the difficult circumstances in the orphanage during the day. Strict discipline governed the children's education. Any defiance was met with consequences. This fate befell Shondeep, taken away late at night. Mrs. Suits, responsible for finding families for children like Suru, recounted her efforts to locate his kin through a newspaper ad, which yielded no responses. She presented a potential opportunity. An Australian couple named John and Sue expressed a desire to adopt Suru, offering a new life in Tasmania, emphasizing this as his sole chance for a better future. Displayed images of John, Sue, and Amita reinforced the idea of a promising future in Australia. Mrs. Suits commenced etiquette lessons for the soon-to-be adopted children, unfamiliar with basic cutlery usage. Saru boarded a plane with his chaperone, Swalmina, embarking on a new journey to Hobart, Australia, in 1987. Welcomed by his new parents with a soft toy, Saru immediately sensed the kindness radiating from John and Sue. The clean, uncluttered streets intrigued him during their car ride home, where he discovered a television set and other novelties. The abundance of food in the refrigerator provided him with a hearty dinner, and Sue's comforting presence during his bath reassured him that the hardships were now in the past. As time passed, Saru grew accustomed to his new life, bonding with his adoptive parents. Eventually, they decided to expand their family by adopting another boy named Montosh. Unlike Saru, Montosh proved to be restless, throwing frequent tantrums that challenged his new family. Witnessing Sue's distress one night, Saru comforted her, wiping away her tears. 2 decades had swiftly passed, and Saru, now an adult, prepared to depart for Melbourne to pursue studies in hotel business. His parents beamed with pride, grateful for the positive change he brought into their lives since his arrival. Upon starting his studies, Saru encountered Lucy, a captivating fellow student, during a session where each student shared about themselves. Their paths crossed again on the streets, leading to an evening gathering with mutual acquaintances. Surrounded by Indian dishes, Saru reminisced about his homeland, particularly a delicacy, jalebi, once unattainable but now within his reach. His friends noticed his melancholy and learned about his past, a tale of being lost in a town named Ganashtali, seemingly non-existent on any map, making Saru doubt his memory. Despite his initial reluctance, driven by a longing for his mother, Saru found himself drawn to the idea of reuniting with his family. As evening descended, the young group walked through the streets, and Lucy confided in Saru about her mother's recent passing and her father's enduring struggle to cope with the loss. That night, Saru and Lucy found solace in each other's company. Saru, consumed by thoughts of his illiterate mother who might not have seen the newspaper ad featuring his picture, turned to the internet, using train speeds and travel durations to estimate the distance to his birth city. Fast forward to 2010, Lucy empathized with Saru's deep emotional turmoil stemming from the mystery surrounding his family's fate. The couple often jogged together, exploring the surroundings while Saru reminisced about his childhood. Meanwhile, Lucy visited Sue, who cherished both her children dearly, despite Montosh's recurring behavioral issues. The family gathered for dinner, but Saru couldn't muster the resolve to disclose his intention to track down his lost family. Montosh's uncontrollable aggression at the dinner brought Saru to confront his mother, expressing his pain over Montosh's actions. Lucy, desperate to aid Montosh, felt at a loss. Overwhelmed by the weight of 25 years of separation from his family, Saru made a decision. He felt Lucy deserved better and abruptly departed, convinced it was for the best. Determined to find his long-lost family, Saru embarked on an earnest search despite the enormity of the task, the increasing population in India, and the vast search radius. During an evening stroll by the river, memories of bathing with his mother flooded Saru's mind. Concerned about Saru, John, his adoptive father, approached him, sensing his distress. The parents, particularly John, expressed deep concern for Saru's well-being. In an unexpected encounter at the mall, Saru and Lucy, both hurt by their breakup, finally engaged in an open conversation. Saru poured out his thoughts, confiding in Lucy about his quest. Lucy, recounting seeing Saru's suffering mother, encouraged him to disclose his search to his foster mother. Revisiting memories of his struggle to find sustenance on the streets, Saru found himself sinking into depression, unable to shake thoughts of his brother. In a heartfelt moment, Saru expressed guilt for wishing Sue had biological children, only to realize that adopting him and Montosh was a conscious and compassionate choice made by Sue and John. Deeply affected, Saru took Sue's hand before leaving, his mind consumed once more by thoughts of his biological mother. Amidst his ongoing fruitless search, a sudden revelation on Google Maps unveiled a familiar place, triggering a rush of childhood memories. Tears welled up as Saru realized the town's actual name was Ganeshtali, not Ganeshtali. Rushing to Lucy early the next morning, Saru shared the discovery of his childhood home. Overjoyed for him, Lucy promised to await his return, embracing the significance of Saru finding closure in his quest. Saru opened up to Sue and John about his pursuit. Encouraged by their support, he boarded a flight to India in 2012, checking into a motel and wandering the city of his birth. Tracing familiar paths, he eventually arrived at his family's former home, now replaced by a goat pen. Showing a man a childhood photo, Saru found himself in a state of shock when his elderly mother appeared, instantly recognizing him. Overwhelmed with emotions, they embraced, their connection transcending language. Despite Saru's limited Hindi, communication between mother and son was effortless. A crowd gathered witnessing their reunion, but Saru's inquiries about Gadu, his brother, revealed the heartbreaking news of his passing. The reunion expanded with the arrival of Shakila, Saru's grown-up sister, garnering applause from onlookers. Saru mourned the loss of Gadu, sending a voicemail to Sue and John, informing them of his discoveries, finally granting peace of mind to his adoptive parents. Saru revisited familiar places, forever missing his brother, reflecting on his bittersweet return.